My story is, if you like nightmares, travel today. My trip to Phoenix and San Diego was supposed to start on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to me. But as the 14th was approaching, so was a major snowstorm. So I changed my date to the 13th. No, it was not a Friday. I arrived at the Albany airport at 6 o'clock and was on the plane by 7:35, right on time. As I was buckling in, I looked out the window. Something strange was going on. 45 minutes later, the pilot announced that we would be deplaning due to a malfunction in the fuselage. Well, there's still time to get out. U.S. Air sent me over to Northwest to revamp my trip. Well, now, Northwest does not send you through the Pennsylvania terminals. They send you through St. Louis, Missouri, with a stop in Detroit, Michigan. About 1 p.m., we got on the plane. Phoenix, here I come. As we landed in Detroit, the pilot announced over the plane, the crew and anyone continuing will have to change planes. Another plane, another rush. When we landed in St. Louis, they rushed me over to my next gate, and I arrived there just 1.5 minutes after the departure date. The catwalk was locked. I looked out on the runway. That's my plane! That's my plane! The attendant finally came out. I'm sorry, but we couldn't keep the plane for one person. But I have to be there. My cousin has already made dinner, and I'm supposed to pick up a rental car. Well, that's too bad. That's the last plane to Phoenix tonight. Besides that, weather-related delays do occur at this time. Here's a list of hotels where you can get 10% discount off your room rate. Excuse me? Your plane malfunctioned. This was not due to the weather. Well, all I can say, this is the last plane to Phoenix, and a supervisor came over. She said, the best thing we can do is get you on the next plane tomorrow morning, but we do have to know where you are staying. I'm staying right here until you take your responsibility. Somehow or other, they managed to get a voucher for the Crowne Plaza. I took the shuttle over to the hotel, walked into the lobby, smiled at the girl, and handed her the voucher. She smiled back and disappeared into the back room. About 5 minutes later, she came back. This company did not reserve any rooms for tonight. My eyes opened wide, my jaw ground down. But we do have a room for you. The next morning, I was up at 4 o'clock, back at the airport by 5:15. Enough time for 7:30 flight? As I got up to the ticket counter, the young girl had to see my entire itinerary. As she was looking through it, she looked up and said, "You're going to San Diego?" Yes, but that's not for 2 weeks. However, she booked my flight and bags for San Diego for that day. When I pointed out the error, she had to go back in and revamp my entire schedule. They got me upstairs. I was strip searched. I got on the plane about 10 minutes before they closed the door. That was the first leg of my journey. 2 weeks later, my cousin and I went to the Phoenix airport for our trip to San Diego. The shuttle let us off at the end of the terminal. We had to drag our bags back to the doors, walked into the terminal, and looked down a long, long, long hallway. Well, we started dragging our bags quickly, and we got to the first set of ticket counters. Oh, we're here. Then I looked up. International flights. That's not where we had to be. So I left the bags with my cousin and made sure that a handicap assistance was on the way and ran to the domestic counter, where I got into another very long, long line. When I finally got up to the ticket counter, I showed all my paperwork. But then I looked around. My cousin Phyllis was nowhere to be found. Well, within a few minutes, they wheeled her up to the ticket counter. But we weren't out of the woods yet. She had to open her suitcase, take out her camera, and put it in her pocketbook. Then they got us up to the gate. We had enough time to sit and talk for a few minutes. Now, in the infinite wisdom, U.S. Air had overbooked this flight. And the flight attendant was trying very hard to get people to go on the next flight down the other end of the terminal. Well, Phyllis and I decided we didn't care what they were giving as a good prize. We were not going. When they started boarding, Phyllis got on because she had her seat assigned. But when I tried to get on, they had given my seat away, and I had to wait. I have to be there. My cousin is legally blind, and I have to be there. We have to get off together. Well, they finally got a seat near the front of the plane, about 5 minutes before the plane was supposed to take off. Because we couldn't sit together, my cousin decided she was going to write a poem. And this is what she wrote. One little airplane flying so high, who'd ever think we'd reach the sky? Two little airplanes flying in the air, traveling along without a care. Three little airplanes full of businessmen looking at their watches. Damn it, late again. Thank you.